This is not financial advice, not legal advice, for entertainment, educational purposes only, and anything I say is my opinion. Please don't make any financial decision based on anything I say in these videos. Listen, these guys will rob and steal from us any way they see how, okay? Any opportunity they can take to take money out our pockets, this is what they do. They take money out our pockets, even if it's quasi-illegal. They have no shame, in my opinion. Anyway, double check you're still subscribed to the channel. Double check notifications are on. And if you hit that like button, double check that it's working properly. Listen, there's something called American Depositary Receipts, ADRs. Now, I had no idea what they were. But I went in my account and I saw that I was charged ADR fees. You guys know that I like NIO stock. I think it's a Chinese EV car company that's severely undervalued. I know the bad actors are manipulating the stock. They're naked shorting it to debt with the FTDs, the counterfeit shares, and the SEC knows, the DOJ knows, the FBI knows, and they do absolutely nothing about it. But here's the thing. The ADR fees are fees that they charge, the brokers charge you, if you have shares of companies that don't originate in the United States. Like if you have Mitsubishi, if you have Sony, if you have like XPeng, if you have Alibaba, if you have shares that the companies originate outside the country, the brokers charge you ADR fees. And the ADR fees are usually 2% or 2 cents on every share, 3 cents on every share, depending on the stock, depending on the company. So if I got 5,000 NIO shares, they charge me $100 for ADR fees. But then I started thinking about this. How are they charging these fees when we know that a majority of the shares in our account are counterfeit? And you know how we know? We know by the FTDs. We know by the FTDs that they are not delivering the shares, that our shares are credited with shares. They're credited with shares, but there are no real shares in our account. There might be some shares in our account, but are all the shares that they're charging the ADR fees on, are they really holding those shares for us? I think not. I think that if the float of a company is 1 million shares and they're collecting ADR fees on 10 million shares, 9 million of those ADR fees need to be given back to the customers. These brokers, all of them, are charging us ADR fees on shares that are not in our account, because we all know they're counterfeit shares. We all know that they short 4 and 5x the float, but they're still charging you ADR fees on the credited shares in your account when there are no real shares there. So in my opinion, this is just another way for them to rob and steal from retail investors, pension funds, and institutions that follow the rules, because they do the same thing to the pension funds. They're charging them the ADR fees for shares that are not real, for counterfeit shares in their account. They're charging the institutions that follow the rules the ADR fees for shares that are not in their account. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. When I'm looking at NIO and I'm looking at the FTDs and I'm seeing millions of FTDs, that tells me there are millions of counterfeit shares in my account. And if there are millions of counterfeit shares in these accounts, they should not be charging ADR fees for shares that don't really exist. But all these brokers, they use these ADR fees as another way to take money out of our pocket when they're charging us ADR fees on counterfeit shares that do not exist. And it's very, very simple to verify that, because all you have to do is look is look at a broker and find out how many shares did you collect ADR fees on. And if they collected ADR fees on 2 million shares, but the float is only 1 million, you know that 1 million of those shares were counterfeit, and they should not have collected those ADR fees. The bottom line is this. They look for every available loophole and scam to rob and steal from retail investors. And I'm going to tell you something, and this is just my opinion. I see a class action lawsuit coming because of these ADR fees. I can't believe it hasn't been done already. But I see a class action lawsuit because of these ADR fees. Because I know and they know they're charging ADR fees on shares that do not exist, which means they are not actually holding those shares for anybody. Okay? They're just crediting your account with the shares, but the shares don't exist. And if the shares don't exist, they should not be charging ADR fees. Anyway, please leave some comments. Tell me what you think. Do you think that these bad actors are actually charging us ADR fees for counterfeit shares that don't exist? Anyway, have a great day. God bless, and I appreciate y'all on this journey with me.